Hello, good morning, everyone. Today we have Blair Vega Norfolk, and he's the Managing Director of and the founder of Biome Australia with ticker code BIO. And this is a company at the forefront of developing and commercializing live biotherapeutics and complementary medicines. With over 13 years of experience in the global nutraceutical and probiotic industry, Blair has established himself as a leading health expert. And under his leadership, Biome Australia has now grown from concept to commercialization. How are you today, Blair?
Very well. Thank you for having me.
Well, look, I'm really excited, Blair, because I'm actually I actually am very big into the health and wellness lifestyle, and I can tell you are as well. So I'd really love for you to start off by telling us a little bit more about Biome and your long-term vision with your company.
Absolute pleasure. So look, the journey started for me back about 12 or 13 years ago. In 2012, I'd concluded my studies. I completed my MBA. I was working in California at the time, helping advise big nutraceutical companies or supplement businesses on how to understand their customers. So that was in a marketing capacity. I then unfortunately got ill with my second autoimmune disease. So this drove me into I didn't want to go back to university again after almost a decade of studying. So I naturally found my way into product formulation, and I partnered up with a man by the name of Dr. JB, who's an Australian PhD in medicine, who'd done 20 or 30 years in drug research and discovery and had a significant change in his focus and value set into preventative medicine. So Dr. JB and I formulated a range of nutraceutical products. This is going back to 2013. And we came back to Australia together and launched that product. Initially, the idea was a test market to then bring those products back to North America. What we realized, Australia is not just a test market. It's quite an incredibly large market, and per capita, it's one of the best in the world for complementary medicines, for probiotics, for vitamins. And we were coming home to compete against the massive companies like Blackmores and Swiss and other major, in many cases, multi-billion-dollar companies with very large marketing budgets. So it was a bit of a baptism of fire. I call it the next MBA, trying to learn and understand and build relationships in an industry that back then we didn't have a right to be in. So the journey started back in 2013, ahead of Biome being founded in 2018. We saw the initial company as a vehicle for R&D, for discovery, understanding the market, building relationships with all the pharmaceutical distributors, the pharmacy banner groups, raw material suppliers and manufacturers, which really take a long time to bed in and build trust with before they will even take your business or give you a chance in the industry. So we started in nutraceuticals. We then moved in 2016 into R&D and research in the microbiome space. Yes. Incredibly interesting space. The majority of clinical trials and research within complementary medicines are skewed toward probiotic or probiotic condition-specific products or disease-specific products. When we got into the probiotic industry, I was challenged by the company board to spend time overseas, meeting with the heads of R&D at the big IP companies, meeting with microbiologists, universities, research institutions, to see where the probiotic category was going to go over the next 20 to 30 years. So we didn't want to create a second brand that was going to be a challenger brand like our first brand back in 2013 in nutraceuticals. We looked at the probiotic market. There was such an overwhelming body of evidence in disease-specific, strain-specific probiotic products that have been studied. But when you surveyed the market back in 2016, you were looking at a market that was completely saturated with gut health products. So probiotics for irritable bowel syndrome, upset tummies, bloating, diarrhea, so general gastrointestinal symptoms, where all the research, almost if you flip a coin, 80-20 was on diseases. So we saw this opportunity, significant challenge in that the global market was only ready for gut health probiotics, not looking at probiotics for mental health, depression, asthma, skin conditions, osteoporosis. So all these world of wonderful conditions I'll talk about in a minute that our brand Activated Probiotics works within. So fast forward, we launched 9 products under the Activated Probiotics brand in November 19 from Melbourne, a couple of months before our 2-year lockdown.
Yeah.
We've grown that business with a range of clinically proven probiotic products for conditions. So we are first mover in the world in the disease-specific or condition-specific probiotic area. What does that mean? So we have unique IP, we have unique products that have been put through the finished product, put through randomized, placebo-controlled, double-blind clinical trials. So the product, a few of the product highlights in the activated probiotic range. So the ones on screen right now, Biome Lift. This is one of the world's most well clinically validated probiotics for mental health. This
Okay.
one has been studied on healthy medical students going through their exams, looking at depressed mood, anger, stress, and sleep. And then all the way through to our third clinical trial we concluded with La Trobe University in Melbourne last year on subthreshold depression. So looking at a specific disease population and the ability to use this product in a medical or a clinical setting or a pharmacy setting, used as either a standalone or a probiotic that could be used alongside pharmaceutical medications for mental health. The other one there, Biome Her, which you can see on the last screen, is a probiotic that's indicated for female vaginal health conditions like bacterial vaginosis and thrush, one of our best-selling condition-specific products, and also really overwhelming evidence in significant reduction in occurrences and prevention on ongoing conditions, which these are things that many women will deal with in any other month. So 2019, we launched Activated Probiotics. We started with 100 pharmacies. We launched into Bloom's The Chemist in New South Wales. The journey then got very, very exciting for Biome. So as you can see on the map here, we grew from 100 stores and 800,000 revenue in FY20 to FY21. We did 2.1 million in sales, and the network of stores had grown to well over 1,000. FY22, 4.1 million. FY23, 7.2, and then this year we've just closed with 13 million and beat our upgraded forecast. We initially forecast 11.5. We upgraded it to 12.5 million, and then we achieved 13 million at the close of the financial year last Friday. So the activated probiotics products are now ranged in roughly 5,000 distribution points in the Australian market. So that is a rough split, 50-50 of community pharmacies. So that would be, for example, our largest customers are Terry White Chemmart, Australia's largest pharmacy group, with about 600 pharmacies, and Priceline Pharmacy, as well as more than 1,500 independent pharmacies around the country, which are community businesses independently owned by local pharmacists and their families that service the community and community health. The other side of our business, which is really interesting and important to understand, is the practitioner market. So by definition, the practitioner market are general practitioner doctors, medical specialists, or natural medicine professionals like a naturopath, a nutritionist, or a dietitian. These professionals work in clinical practice. They would sit with a patient, say perhaps my wife, and then they would recommend a product like the Activated Probiotics products for a multitude of different conditions, and then they can either sell it to them directly or through, say, an e-script through an online professional portal. This market has been developed by a couple of quite successful companies ahead of Biome, so namely Bioceuticals, which was the most successful business unit within Blackmores, and then Metagenics, a big American company, which turns over very, very significant revenue in Australia and the USA. So Biome's point of difference in the market is we're first mover in condition-specific probiotics. We have world first clinical trials. We have no competition on our direct products. Unlike most brands in the complementary medicine space, they're seen as sales and marketing engines. What did Blackmores and Swiss do really well? They executed incredible marketing campaigns. They developed trust. They sold products quite often on deals or discounts. So, for example, they might be in a discount chemist or a supermarket on 50% discount. What Biome does is very different. We've sort of flipped the script on how the industry works. We maintain our retail price. We're premium, affordable. We never do deals or discounts. We have a fixed price. It doesn't matter how much buying power Priceline or Terry White or other groups have. We make sure that we negotiate to ensure the same pricing is with a community pharmacy around the corner, which is an ethical point, but it's also critical to our strategy in maintaining a strong margin. So Biome operates a 60+% margin, which is significantly better than anyone else in the industry. And we believe over time, 60%, 60%, yep, above 60%. At IPO, I believe we're at 52%, which was in November 2021. Growing our revenue from 2 million to 13 million, we've actually increased our margin from 52 to 60+. So that goes against the trend of most businesses, which will be eroding margin to gain sales.
True. And look, I think this is really quite exciting because as you can see here, Blair, our investor base, they're very sophisticated. I do have one question. I mean, I love these stories. I love these great Australian stories and how you're really trying to fight for your market share and to become pretty much, synonymous with an Australian lifestyle.
Yep.
So my next question I have here is, how are you going to sustain the growth? I mean, you've had some stratospheric growth in the last 4 years alone.
Yeah, no, look, absolutely. Thrilled to answer that question. So right now of Biome's, let's say roughly 5,000 distribution points, that's about 40% of the addressable market of pharmacies and health practitioners.
Yes.
So we've achieved 40%. Within our existing distribution footprint, those 5,000 accounts, we're only about 25% developed. So while we've done a great job in getting where we're at, Biome's strategy is to sell a significantly higher number of products or a significantly higher revenue per account than anyone else in the market. How do we achieve this? We achieve this by being, firstly, we're practitioner only. So the brand is not a retail product. It sits behind the counter as an OTC professional probiotic brand.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've positioned ourselves alongside, well, behind the pharmacist. So it's something for them. The products are clinically proven. They have the research to support gaining the trust of the health professional. Then the health professional, we essentially recruit. So of our 20 sales staff that we have on the road on any given day, training and educating on our products, we have 5,000 plus health professionals that are actively recommending it to a patient every day. So the examples of our top performing stores, we're doing more than 10 times the volume of the largest vitamin brands in sales and gross profit for those pharmacies. So we present an opportunity for the independently owned health business to make significantly more gross profit, gross margin, and grow their basket size. So understanding what's important to them, not being sold in the supermarkets, not being available on Amazon, not being in the big discounters, maintaining our retail price to prevent, that loss leader strategy of the big pharmacy chains, allows us to then maintain price for us and maintain price and margin for the pharmacies.
Excellent.
So 25% developed. We can 4x our current revenue with the existing distribution, and we have an opportunity to double our distribution. So we believe we can do about 8 times our current revenue in Australia without stretching too far.
And only in Australia so far, right?
We're not only in Australia so far, but that's all we've discussed today. Absolutely.
Excellent.
So, yes.
It's important for our investor base to understand that we've only just touched on 26 million people in Australia, let alone the rest of the developed nations. Can we talk a little bit about your financials here, Blair? So I've gone through your deck and it's very strong, and I'd love for you to just give an insight into our investors about your cash flow and your cash holding and your balance sheet at the moment.
Of course. So we talked about top line revenue. So we closed with 13 million this year.
Yes.
We were thrilled to share that we did our first quarter of positive cash flow in the December quarter, which was impacted by an R&D rebate. Then we backed that up with March and now June quarter with positive cash flow and now positive EBITDA for the first 2 quarters in a row. I think the writing's on the wall that an NPAT outcome is coming sooner than later. The company is not burning cash. So we are cash flow positive and we expect to remain cash flow positive. We will continue to reinvest for growth because growth is very important, but we would like to turn a profit as well and long-term be a significant dividend paying business. So where Biome's at today, we haven't raised capital since the IPO. We've been true to our word with shareholders that we won't raise money. We raised $8 million to bring the business from roughly 2 million in sales to 13 and being profitable. We've executed on that plan. We've over-delivered on all of our promises on the numbers we'd achieved. And now we'll be doubling down next year in FY25 and continue to grow that underlying revenue.
Excellent. I think these are all the right green flags that we're looking for actually at the moment. You're not running on debt. You're not trying to raise. There is actually a path forward, if not already, that you're making a profit and you're growing, and you're actually growing that profit margin as well without eroding it to gain market share. Yep. Can you just elaborate a bit more? So you're in 5,000. So what is the actual plan to get into more, to grow your distribution channels?
So frankly, right now we could put these products in every single store in Australia should we choose to, but there is a cost and a risk associated with doing that. So Biome does everything very conservatively. We don't want to sign another 1,000 pharmacies tomorrow, because if I do that, I have to spend more on OpEx, and then we blow out that lovely, potential NPAT line that's coming sooner than later. So right now, as I already said, we've got 75% of our network we still have to optimize. So it's not that they're not selling, they're just not selling at our optimized level that we will be developing. What does that take? Just more time. So if we can keep delivering the growth, and the market and shareholders are impressed with our performance, which I hope they are, because it's been very strong over the last few years, we will continue to deliver growth within the existing 5,000 distribution points. For the next year to year and a half, that's our core focus. Double down business development, service support, sales development, and grow the underlying business in those accounts. Beyond the next 18 months, we'll then look to add, another 1,000 accounts, and then double down on and developing those accounts.
I'm smiling, Blair, because I think I like I love the conservative approach, yet still the bullish outlook. That's what's attracting me to this business at the moment.
I appreciate that. Look, I mean, the way we look at it is we do many things conservatively, and they add up to high growth once you put them all together.
Yep. I mean, look at this graph. It's a beautiful trend line. That's exactly what we want to see. So, I mean, do you, as you said, FY25, you forecast that to be how many % above FY24?
Wonderful question that that I can't answer just yet, but we will. We have been very bullish to the market that we will be putting out our Vision 27, our 3-year strategic plan. It's quite likely that will have some kind of a guidance in it associated with that 3-year plan. And then consistently we have put out revenue forecasts for quarters and financial years, usually in the first quarter. So keep an eye on the market, and we will be sharing information on that sooner than later. We also have our 4C coming out within our quarterly activities report coming out within this month as well, which will have a lot more detail on the financials and other things like EBITDA and NPAT targets for the year just closed.
Excellent. Well, don't worry, our analysts will be all over it. So the next question I have here is, look, I'm really curious about your clinical research pipeline. What other products in development are you most excited about, and why?
So it's important to get this question in and to answer this, because the clinical trials are what really differentiates Biome from anyone else on the market, in that our finished products are what's put through the studies, through the research. It's not someone else's research. So to pull together this amount of research around probiotic products, we had to leverage about 30 years of partner IP and research to be able to put together such a novel and unique range. But then what our strategy is on IP is, unlike what the big vitamin companies have done before, we're not using contract manufacturers. They're our products. About 40 to 50% of the products we own, they're our formulations and our research. And then the ones that we don't own, I'll give you a perfect example right here. So the first 2 studies you see, the first one was Latrobe on Biome Lift, and the second one on Federation University with Biome Daily Kids. So the first one, Biome Lift, this is on our mental health target probiotic. It's got 3 clinical trials. We don't own that product. That product's on a long-term exclusive license.
Okay.
Important to note, of our top 5 products, are 60% of our sales, we own them outright. So the volume ones are all Biome's. Some of the niche, unique ones, like this mental health probiotic, we don't own it. We have a 5-year exclusive license that we renew every couple of years. So it's a rolling 5 years. When we don't own it, we look to do clinical trials, so we can own that clinical trial and therefore own hybrid IP.
Yep.
So this study on Biome Lift we did on subthreshold depression patients with Latrobe University, concluded last year. The study was called the Biome Lift clinical trial, which is our brand and our product.
Yep.
And that gives us long-term IP ownership of that research on someone else's IP that we have exclusive right to. So that's an example of what we do when we don't own IP. We still have a very, strong focus around ownership and protection for our brand. The next one, Biome Daily Kids, that study is on a product that's our product. We own the IP, we own the formulation, we own the concept behind the product. This was a PhD candidate at Federation University that studied this product on children in daycare setting for upper respiratory tract infection, colds and flus, and stomach bugs.
Yep.
So a big community health issue, certainly in winter. And, daycare setting is really what spreads all the viruses through the community. Yeah. I know, because I've got a 3-year-old and we had a pretty tough winter already this year.
I have friends who are constantly sick with kids.
Yes, and this is our best-selling or second best-selling product, our best-selling kids product. It's a vanilla fast melt. It's delicious. Kids love it. In many ways, it's
Excellent.
the gateway drug into the Biome Australia brand and the
Hmm.
activated probiotics product. So that study was done because we wanted to further the body of evidence on a product that was well researched but not clinically proven. So
Right.
we did a study on this to make it clinically proven, to elevate it in the eyes of doctors and medical professionals. So right now, these are the three studies that have been ongoing. We have several more
Hmm.
research studies yet to be announced to market that are in late stage of development and conversation.
Yep.
We have developed a model, though. We don't have a massive R&D budget that we're burning through. So largely myself and our head of R&D and science, we've been able to develop relationships with universities and
Yep.
supporting IP companies. So we bring them together, we negotiate it. They're our
Mhm.
relationships. We provide the advice on how to run the study. We provide the product and the placebo, and then we get other people to pay for it. So we've managed to get through several clinical trials on very lean budgets by running them independently with universities and getting them to get that excited about the concept that they'll put their own money down.
Excellent. Well, I'm very excited actually. Can you tell me more about, so is this all of the clinical proof around the studies that you've been conducting?
No, this is just marketing feedback from real patients. So it's interesting because a lot of our products are for internal conditions like mental health or asthma or osteoporosis. You can't see it. We have
Hmm.
a really strong dermatology section within the activated probiotics range. There's two products. There's one called Biome Eczema Probiotic, which has two clinical
Hmm.
trials reducing eczema symptoms by 52%, improving quality of
52%.
life by 50%. And that's
Mhm.
this product you can see here, working with this little boy.
Yep.
These are unprompted photos that just got sent through that we were told we could use by the child's parents via their pharmacist. And there's another one, I believe, this page, which this is also eczema, but the other product is Biome Acne, which
Mm.
guess what that one's used for? And that one reduces acne symptoms by 40%. So it's nice for investors, for customers, for partners to be able to see some of our products that have a real visual benefit in, improving patient health outcomes.
And also quality of life as well. I think at the end of
Absolutely.
the day, that's what we're looking for. Our investor base, they're actually more socially and ethically conscious now. They're looking for companies just like yours that's going to make an impact on people's lives.
I'm glad you said impact because Biome Australia is a B Corp company, which means we force ourselves to
Mm.
report well above the industry standards of social environmental sustainability, but above all else, impact. And
Yep.
impact, what does that mean to us? It is the patient impact and how we can improve quality of life for people that take our products.
And at the end of it, that's what it should be about, right? The social impact. I have a question now, just really quickly. We've spoken so much about Australia. If I can give you just another 2 minutes, would our investors would like to know what your aspirations are for overseas?
Look, I think any business in our space needs to prove scale. We've done a
Yep.
great job with the foundations in Australia. We still have a lot of work to
Hmm.
do. However,
Yes.
we have again a very conservative but in some ways aggressive approach to our international market expansion. So we
Hmm.
started about 2.5 years ago in the UK and
Sure.
Irish markets. Our strategy for international expansion is quite different to brands that have been before us. So rather than launch with a big budget, a big marketing campaign into, say, the US pharmacy market, which would be very risky approach, hyper
Hmm.
competitive, very
Yep.
expensive, and the chance of success not particularly high. What
Hmm.
we do is with our professional products, we do a soft launch into a market. So, for
Yep.
example, 2.5 years ago, we entered the UK and Ireland. We started off with a couple of high quality education staff detailing doctors and naturopaths and health professionals.
Hmm.
Once we've developed enough sales volume and enough trust, we then
Yep.
launch into the health retail market. Once we've proven it and de-risked the market. So we launched into health retail in the UK and Ireland after a 2.5 year test market in January this year. So we're now available in independent community pharmacies, health food stores. We did release to market recently as well that we have our Health Canada approvals. So I think the writing's on the wall that we will be looking at the North American market via Canada in the coming periods.
Excellent. And look, the final two questions I have for you now is actually a bit about yourself, Blair. So we really enjoy looking at the leadership team because obviously, especially founder-led businesses. So can you just take a few moments to just talk a little bit more about your experience? Because I did notice that you were actually in the consulting space, particularly for this industry, actually before you started Biome Australia.
Yeah, look, absolutely. So I consulted in the nutritional supplement
Mm-hmm.
space in the US. I think we spoke about that a little bit at the
Mm-hmm.
start. But I'm a passionate health advocate. I speak to medical professionals on a given day about probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not health qualified, but I'm an expert on the topic. I sit
Yep.
on the board of the International Probiotic Association, which meets 3 times a year, which is a collection of all of the industry leaders, whether they are scientists, microbiologists, or
Mm-hmm.
commercial individuals, and we share a vision to grow this category in space. So my internal I suppose goals for Biome Australia are to genuinely solve health problems that are not met by current medical pharmaceutical interventions or other complementary medicines. And we have a really unique blue sky opportunity that is driven by the passion and the impact of the business, in that the activated probiotic products can be positioned alongside pharmaceutical drugs. So unlike other health products that sit as a standalone in a pharmacy, our
Yes.
products are in the dispensary. They have a perfect or complete safety profile for patients, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be safely used alongside prescription drugs. So that gives us 330 million opportunities every year to be dispensed alongside medications. And we think it makes us significantly more exciting than Blackmores was. And if you give us 5 to 10 years to develop, we think we can grow a Blackmore sized business.
You're very young, Blair, so you've got your whole lifetime.
I'll take this as a compliment. I think I said to you at the start, I do feel tired after going through an IPO and 12 years of this business, but I've got a lot of energy, I think, for the next 5 to 10 years still.
Excellent. Well, look, I have one more question here for you. So this is more investor-led. So I'm very curious, for any investor right now who's looking to either reposition, rebalance their portfolio into the biopharmaceutical industry, what would your final words be to our investor base of 60,000?
Look, I mean, I always follow the research, and that's my way is, believing in the science. But the microbiome space in general is what's leading a lot of the drug discovery and development at the
Mm-hmm.
pharma side. And then there's a lot of probiotic businesses globally that are doing very, very well. The reason is the products work. They're not gimmicks. They're not pseudoscience. They are clinically proven, validated therapies or complementary medicines or medicines, depending which regulatory market you work within. I mean, I believe Biome's got a great opportunity to capture the market, but there are also other wonderful companies out there working in the microbiome space, from testing to products to research and to drug discovery. So, Biome believes that we have the internal expertise to be able to develop drugs in the future as well. We don't need to
Okay.
do this, but
Mm-hmm.
as the industry grows and as we look to gain more trust from various types of health professionals, I think having, TGA approved or FDA approved probiotic drugs would be something we'd consider doing in the future.
Excellent. Now, so our final words for our investors here. So if it's okay with you, Blair, so if any of our investors, members, or subscribers, if they have any further questions about Biome Australia, I'll get them to forward it to our team at which is info@sharesinvalue.com.au or info@ecr.com.au, and we'll pass this on to you and your team, and you'll get back to our investors if they have any
Wonderful.
further queries.
Be my pleasure. We also have an investor hub as well, which can be found via the biomeaustralia.com website. So more than happy to answer questions.
Excellent. Well, you know what? This is actually the second day to the new financial year. So I'm certainly going to be spectating this very, very closely.
I appreciate your time for having a chat, and thanks for your support today.
Yes, thank you very much, Blair.